In this video, I'm going to show you some cool foolproof vocal effects and special tricks using Baby Audio Comeback Kid delay. Let's take a listen. Hello everyone, welcome back to MixbusTv. Hope you're having a great day. Before we start, check the info box down below for my mixing courses on ProMix Academy. A brand new one is coming up. Also free plugin discounts and special offers. If you want to support the channel, access to exclusive videos, live chats, post, mix consultations with me via Skype or email. Behind the scenes of all MixbusTv production, click the join button down here. See all the perks of becoming a MixbusTv member. Also soon, all the mixing and mastering tutorial videos are going to be members only. Let's get to the video. Because we're giving 3 of these away and I'm using Comeback Kid to show you the tricks in this video, let's see what feature and effects this delay has on board. We have low cut and high cut here, very important. The filters are everything when tailoring any delay to a song. They added an attack and sustain so you can shape the envelope of the repetition. Very, very cool. Then we have the stereo manipulation, wider knob from mono to stereo, even when you keep the same type signature for left and right. So without ping pong, you can make a quarter, an eighth, stereo, and very wide. The richer knob adds a little bit of pitch modulation between left and right, and it enriches the material and it adds to the stereo spread. The pan allows you to pan the delay left or right. Then you can also mono it all the way. Main knobs are time and feedback, of course. It can be straight, dotted, triplet, or free. Nothing new here. And ping pong. Probably the cooler section is the flavor here at the top right. Is a really nice tape emulation, and it's so well done that you can actually use it as a saturator if you put the time all the way to zero feedback and just run the material through it. You will hear it in a minute. We have the tape knob, which adds the amount of tape effect that you want, the swirl, which is the wow and flatter, and the sauce. This is a sort of an ambient, and it's one of the few that I actually like because I usually wet my delays. I add a reverb after the delays, and some delays have ambient built in, some algorithm, but they never sound right to me. I like this one very much. And then there is a cheap switch which makes the tape older and increases the saturation and the tape effect. In the output section we have the ducker, very, very useful, of course. As you increase the knob, the delay gets ducked when the dry signal is present. Dry out and wet out gain knobs. And then the destiny, it adds some randomness to the delay. I almost always keep that on. So let's hear the tone of the delay.
All I ever wanted was to stand my ground. Big words to confuse and spin your mind around. But every little step just takes me further down. I found my soul just waiting in the lost and found.
Okay, very analog sounding already, very organic. Let me mute the dry vocal. So right now I already have the wider all the way on the right. Let me put everything else down and we'll play with each individual section so you can hear the tone of the plugin and what it can do.
All I ever wanted was to stand my ground. Big words to confuse and spin your mind around. But every little.
You can hear the wider from mono to really wide and stereo. Then we add the richer that adds the pitch shifting.
All I ever wanted was to stand my ground. Big words to confuse and spin your mind around.
This is very cool on guitars. You can hear the modulation. I'll put it all the way in.
All I ever wanted was to stand my ground. Big words to confuse and spin your mind around.
Then let's play with the tape.
All I ever wanted was to stand my ground. Big words to confuse and spin your mind around. But every little step just takes me further down. I found my soul just waiting in the lost and found.
It's really nice. Like I said, one trick you can do, you can run the material through it just using the tape. For example, the minimum you're allowed, I think it's 0 probably, yeah, off.
All I ever wanted was to stand my ground. Big words to confuse and spin your mind around. But every little step just takes me further down. I found my soul just waiting.
So you can use it as a low fire. It's pretty cool. So let's go back to an actual delay so I can show you the swirl, what it does.
All I ever wanted was to stand my ground. Big words to confuse and spin your mind around.
So you add this flanging effect, and then probably my favorite, the sauce, which is this ambient.
All I ever wanted was to stand my ground. Big words to confuse and spin your mind around. But every little step just takes me further down. I found my soul just waiting in the lost and found.
All right, very cool with the ducker and the actual dry vocal.
All I ever wanted was to stand my ground. Big words to confuse and spin your mind around. But every little step just takes me further down. I found my soul just waiting in the lost and found.
So it's very cool. It has this 80s vibe to me, even the look of it. But now that we've seen the plugin itself, let me show you some basic tricks that you can do with delays on vocals and on acoustic guitars and a couple of synths. These are some of my static go-to delay effects for vocals in almost every mix. Now, the first one that I go through usually is a very short ambient, and this sometimes is in place of a reverb or added to it. So let's try that. I'll go free, I'll tweak it in milliseconds, all right? I will keep it wide, and I won't add any flanging effects for now, but I will keep the tape in, not cheap, and filtering is everything, okay? So let's try this.
But every little step just takes me further down. I found my soul just waiting in the lost and found. Babe, it's nothing you did, so stop talking stupid. We gave it a taste, now it's done. I'm out for self-healing, you ain't got that feeling.
Okay, this already adds this ambient, this space around the vocals without sounding like a reverb, okay? The next one that I usually try on vocal is a slapback delay, so I'm just gonna duplicate this one because we have the send and everything else. Now on this kind of vocals, on a ballad and a slow ballad like this, the slapback probably won't work. I will try it on a male vocal instead, but just to keep the same example for now, I will start around 100 and something, and I will take the ping pong off any modulation for now and keep it wide and see how it sounds.
All I ever wanted was to stand my ground. Big words to confuse and spin your mind around. But every little step just takes me further down. I found my soul just waiting in the lost and found. Babe, it's nothing you did, so stop talking stupid.
Okay, for this, it's a slower song, it's a slower singing. To have the slapback effect, I have to go a little higher in the milliseconds, but you get the feeling. You can try mono. I usually try both. Sometimes mono works best because it gives you 3D depth as opposed to wide. So let's try mono.
All I ever wanted was to stand my ground. Big words to confuse and spin your mind around. But every little step just takes me further down.
Okay, it's pretty cool. It does add depth as opposed to width. And combined with the one that we had before, maybe I'm gonna up the milliseconds there a little bit.
All I ever wanted was to stand my ground. Big words to confuse and spin your mind around.
You're not going to use both necessarily at the same time, but there are two different kind of ambient around the vocals to add depth without adding a reverb, okay? And the other usual delay that I have on vocals, for verses at least, then chorus will have a longer, wider delay, but it's usually an 1/8 delay, wide.
All I ever wanted was to stand my ground. Big words to confuse and spin your mind around.
And on this one, I will want a little bit of ambient, which on this one sounds really good, and I will have the Docker in.
All I ever wanted was to stand my ground. Big words to confuse and spin your mind around. But every little step just takes me further down. I found my soul just waiting in the lost and found.
You can try ping pong in this one if it's not too wide, if it's not too distracting. These are usually my static effects for delays on vocals. I can try the slapback delay on a rock male vocal, for example, like this one, because it will work a little better. The slapback tape effect on a male rock vocal is pretty much a standard, so
what I believe in, so let me be what you ask me, please. So touch down your arm to my chest and fix what needs fixing.
This alone to this vocal add a lot of ambient, a lot of character, especially for rock vocals. And I'm gonna use the same vocal here to build a throw delay. I'm gonna duplicate this. I already created the send, as you can see here, and I'm gonna give this one the same bus. And for the throw, one thing that I don't want on throws is the Docker, because I want the throws to just go wild, and you automate the send so you decide when the delay is coming in. Quarters, depending on what the song calls for, but usually it's something like this.
'Cause you are what I believe in.
Okay, so that's our quarter delay throw, and I'm gonna show you a trick on throw delays that I like very much. I'm gonna automate the high cut. So I'm gonna start it around 9K, and then I'm gonna come here on the high cut, and when the delay starts, just gonna lower it down. Let's see if it's too steep or not. So the delay, the repetitions are darker and darker as they come in. So let's up the feedback.
'Cause you are what I believe in.
So I'm just gonna tailor it to be a little more open in the middle.
'Cause you are what I believe in.
Still a little too steep, but you get the feeling. So every repetition it gets darker and darker, and I really like it. For this one, I would add a little bit of the pitch modulation and the swirl to it.
'Cause you are what I believe in.
Okay, so you get the feeling. This was just an example. Not just for vocals, of course, delays are great for a lot of things. Something that I really like is a rhythmic guitar like this one. And it adds just more texture to it. So without... And with the delay, some filtering, tape emulation, the Docker on, and wide. And you can go free and tailor to be a little rushed or a little slower than the actual timing. This is a pretty cool timing. You hear how just moving the high cut a little bit changes the character, the tone of the entire track. And lastly, I'm gonna show you how sometimes I use 2 instances of a delay to create specific effects on synths. Now I have this pretty plain 303 loop here. The first instance of Comeback Kid, you can see is 1/64th, wide, filters in a little bit of tape, very short, just to stereoize this 303. It adds ambient, it stereoizes it, it adds thickness. And the second delay, it's to actually create texture. And you can use this on every rhythmic sequence on a synth. It's cool on drums, it's cool on, for example, hi-hats loops. But I thought it was interesting just to use 2 instances to create something like this. And well, I guess this is it for this video. Remember, we are giving away 3 licenses of Combat Kit Delay by Baby Audio. You can enter by clicking the link in the description. Leave your comments down below. Follow MixbusTv on Instagram and Facebook. A lot of news are coming up. Subscribe if you haven't already. When we reach 80,000, we're gonna give away the toy drum kit sample pack. We are a few hundred shorts, so subscribe, share the videos, and click the notification bell. It helps the channel a lot. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, and see you next time.